Then of the Ta'arim, with the Thai question, how we describe God, and the Kuzari gave different perspectives. Rabbi Yehuda Levi gave different perspectives regarding the Ta'arim, and basically he went on the option the Ta'arim don't really describe, but they say what it's not, like it's almost a classic explanation of the Rambam. So now we're getting basically to one of the main provocative and mind-shaking perspectives of the Kuzari, of Rabbi Yehuda Levi in his famous book. And I think that the best place to see it, it really starts over here in Ma'amar Sheni, Otet. So basically, after the king spoke on God, and after the king spoke regarding the nation, the king asked on God, asked on the nation. Now the king is asking the third question, the most complicated one, at least in my opinion. מה שאמרת עם האלוה כבר נתברר לי. אולם מה שאמרת בארץ האלוה קשה לי לקבל זאת. What you said, the nation of God, I understood. What you said regarding God, I understood also. But what you said regarding the land of God, it's hard for me to accept. Now let's try and understand why it's hard for him to accept. What is the difference between to say that there's one nation that is chosen, there is one God that chose this nation, to a God that chose what? The God that chose the land. What is the difference between a nation and a land? So I think the answer to that is really, it's simple. Think about any other religion. Religion is supposed to be something that doesn't have what? Any borders. Religion is something that is international, all over the world. Christianity never had borders, right? Islam never had borders. Maybe exactly the opposite. The intention of Christianity and Islam was to have what? The entire world out of Christianity and Islam. The Buddhistic perspective, not only didn't have borders, it didn't have any land, right? In terms of the Buddhistic perspective, the entire focus is on the human being, not on the spread of the religion. And we can go on and on and on. This concept of a land that's the only land of God, it's hard, it's complicated. And we need to focus ourselves. We're not talking over here on holy places. Mekomot Kedoshim. Every religion has an holy place. Muslims, they have three: Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem, and Al-Aqsa. Or at least it's not Jerusalem; it's a mosque, or it's a katzeh. It's the edge of the mosque from where Muhammad went up to the sky. Christians are a little bit more complicated. They have the places where Jesus walked, basically, or they have the place where Petrus is buried. But again, it's not a land that is holy. It's not a land that is. The Vatican is a state, but it's a land. It's a state, but there's no. It is a central. It is a center of the Christians, at least of the Catholic Christians. But at the same time, there's no intention for the Christians, for all the Christians to live in the Vatican. You see what I say? Only holy people can live in the Vatican. That's the concept of the Vatican. The Vatican is basically a big church. A city that is a church. Right? Yerushalayim, the city of the Bet Mikdash, was never a city that is a Mikdash. Never. It was always a normal city, where you had families, where you had children running, playing around, where you have kings. The Vatican is a huge church. Mecca, on the other side, is a normal city with a religious center. But we're not talking, Mecca at the same time is only a city. And there's no benefit for a Muslim to live in Mecca except for the fact that he's closer to where? That he's closer to the Black Stone, to the Kaaba. But for some reason, there is benefit for Jews to live in Israel. Eretz Eloah, the land of God. And the question is, why? It goes against any concept of religion that we understand. And I think maybe over here is part of the secrets of our religion. There are a lot of religions. Every religion is basically based on what? Any religion is based on what? It's based on a lot of individuals that accept a doctrine, that accept a philosophy, and this philosophy, when you have a lot of people that accept this philosophy, so all of them become what? So you can have a state that is a Christian state, right? But it works this way. It works in a way that first of all you need to have the individuals that accept on themselves the religion. Or, listen carefully, you need to have a king that accepts on himself the religion, and he makes everyone else to become what? To become exactly like him. Who did that in the past? No, Dafka, he didn't do that. He didn't make anyone. Who did do that? Constantine, right? It's ridiculous to say that in the early days of Constantine, he declares on the freedom of religions. When the second he became Christian, there's no freedom already. Everyone needs to be Christian. That's a fact. That's Constantine. But what's the philosophy that stands behind it? The king is what? The king is basically the only human beings that we actually care from. And everyone else are under the king. And therefore what happens? If the king becomes Christian, so all of his people need to become Christian. That's the way it works. In the Jewish religion, that's not necessarily the case. The Jewish religion, the Jewish nation, is not a bunch of people that accept on themselves to be Jewish, and therefore you have a Jewish nation. It's exactly the opposite. I'm not sure that's the opposite, but it's not the same. In the Jewish religion, when you join the Jewish religion, you don't join only the religion, you join also what? The Jewish nation. The nation and the religion are connected to each other, right? The nation and religion, there's no such thing as of a Jewish person that is not part of a Jewish nation. You have a Christian person that is not part of a Christian nation. There's a part of a Muslim nation, or the part of a nation in general. Any Jewish person is a part of the Jewish nation. That is an interesting concept, because what stands in the heart of the Jewish religion, the thing that stands in the heart is the fact of what? It's the fact that the Jews are not individuals, or not only individuals, that the Jews are first of all are a group, and only afterwards are individuals. And that's a totally different mindset. A totally different mindset. This nation has what? Has a state. There is a state that is connected to the concept of the nation. And the question is how? How exactly a place is connected to the concept of a nation? Because if you want to be honest 100%, let's take, for example, Nicaragua. The people that live in Nicaragua, are they connected to Nicaragua? So probably yes. Why is they connected to Nicaragua? Because they have grandparents, because they had grandparents, because they live over there for a long, long, long time. And that's a reason to be connected to Nicaragua. But if they will move to where? To Spain, they will be connected to what? To Spain. In terms of the Jews, it's not correct. Why it's not correct? We still didn't answer. But again, we're stating out facts. It's not correct because a Jewish person, even if it will live in Spain, he will still be connected by his religion to the state. Or it's better to say not the state, to the land. Not to the state, to the land. To the ground. To the land of Eretz Yisrael, to the ground of Eretz Yisrael. What's the meaning of that? That's the Jewish person. Jewish person is connected to the ground. To what the Jewish nation is connected, that's a different answer. We'll speak about it afterwards. So first of all, let's see how the Chaver starts to answer the question, why the land? Lama Eretz? Eretz Ha'Eloah, the land of God. So the Chaver answers, and that's Yud. אין כל קושי לקבל את ההנחה כי ארץ אחת נתייחדה בדבר מה משאר כל הארצות. הלא בעיניך תראה כי מקום אחד טוב משאר כל המקומות, צמח מיוחד, למחצב מיוחד ולחי מיוחד, ותושביו מיוחדים בצורתם ומידותם משאר כל האנשים. וכל זה באמצעות מזג הלחויות אשר בגוף. כי במזג הזה תלויים כל שלמות הנפש וחסרונה. Basically he says what? He says a land is important. Why a land is important? Because you can see any person that comes from the States, what are the cats of the States? Squirrels. What we don't have over here? Squirrels. We have cats. Why? Now, first of all, we have cats because the British brought cats. That's the real answer. But the question is why we don't have squirrels. What? What? Maybe they should have, but they didn't. Why we don't have squirrels to start for? I don't know, because that's not the place for squirrels. I need to be honest. I know why. There are different type of plants that grow only where? In tropical in tropical places. They will never grow in Michigan. If they will, it will be in a special place. Nothing grows in Michigan. But if something grows, it's only orchards. Why? Why a lot of orchards? I don't know. Oaks. Why? Because I don't know why. There are different places that fit different. You have different style of bears. You have different colors of human beings, right? Different forms, different shapes. Why? Because, I don't know, it's connected in some way. I don't know to what exactly. I assume that people that do learn biology can explain that. I never learned biology, so I can't explain it. But the only thing I can accept is that lands are different. So first of all, you want to speak to me that lands are different, you can say, it's hard for me to realize, or it's hard for me to believe that there is one place that is different from other places. I will say no. That's actually simple. Because you see in your own eyes there's one place that is different on other places. So he says, therefore, Eretz Yisrael, what? Eretz Yisrael, it's a better place to create a different type of human beings. But then Kuzari is asking, אולם אני לא שמעתי כי לאנשי ארץ ישראל יתרון לשאר בני אדם. He says, I never heard that to the people in the land of Israel, there are better human beings. True? True. If you look outside, if you look in the world, who said that the people that live in the land of Israel are better human beings? And if that's true, it should have been not only connected to the way the Kuzari says regarding Jews, it should be connected to everyone. Every person that lives in Israel should be a better human being. Is that true? Every person that lives on this piece of land should be better. Totally not true. It's a lie. What he means over here? What's that? So the Chaver goes on. כך גם הרחם, זה שאתם אומרים כי הכרם מצליח בו, לולא היו נותנים בו את הגפנים ועושים את כל מלאכת עבודת הכרם הדרושה לגידולם, לא היה עושה ענבים. והנה המעלה המיוחדת באה ראשונה לעם אשר הוא הסגולה והגרעין, כמו שהזכרתי למעלה. ואחרי זה יש גם לארץ חלק במעלה הזאת. וכן המעשים על המצוות התלויים בארץ, שמעין עבודת הכרם לכרם. אולם שלא ככרם עושה ענבים גם במקום אחר, אין עם הסגולה יכול להידבק בעניין אלוהי כי אם בארץ הזאת. And over here it gives a beginning of something. That it's not still an answer, that we still can ask a lot. Not one or two or three. A lot of questions. And we will ask a lot of questions on. But he gives a beginning of something. And he says, we spoke about already a special nation. We spoke about it already, Ma'amar Rishon, on a special nation. This special nation needs to do what? Has a mission. To make the world a better place, to present morality, to present a connection to God, prophecy. The only place where this prophecy work is where? Is in Eretz Yisrael. Only in Eretz Yisrael, this nation can fulfill her destiny. And why? Now listen, it's funny. Because Eretz Yisrael has Maasim u'mitzvot atluim ba'aretz. And Maasim u'mitzvot atluim ba'aretz are what? Are the job, are the work that gives the ability to have a connection to God. Time out. The sentence I said right now has so many logical flaws, I can't even start to number them. Any person that learned math, that learned philosophy, will stop and say over here, time out. He's bluffing. And not only bluffing, he's trying to sell to me in a pastry spinach. That doesn't work. It shouldn't be this way. Pastry should be tasty, not spinach. So what happens over here? What's the answer of the Kuzari? To try and answer the question of the Kuzari, and to try and explain the words of the Chaver, we need to grasp our mind on a different thing. When we speak on connection to God, when we speak on prophecy, or let's not say the word prophecy, we speak on the private connection to God. I saw unbelievable human beings that have a deep and profound connection to God. At least that they feel that they have. They devote their life to what? Towards this connection. The Chaver, the king was exactly this way before he became Jewish and after he became Jewish. The Pope that today resigned from his position also. Doesn't mean that I agree with him, doesn't mean that his methods are good for me, but at least for him, he divided his life to the name of God. There are a lot of more people all over the world. To say that Eretz Yisrael is in condition to connection to God will be a total lie, because it's not a Tanai. But in the same time, to say that the connection to God, your own private connection to God, will make the world a better place, that's also a total lie. And I will explain what I mean. Who affects history? Who really has an effect on history? Nations or a private person? A private person can affect history when he starts what? When he starts a movement and you gain followers. But as it is, by himself, you can be the best human being, but when you are not part of the nation, what will happen to you? You're a good human being. You wrote unbelievable books, but your effect on history is equals to zero. Does equal to zero. You want to affect the history big time? You want to change? You need to play on the ball game of history. This happens at the level of nations, in the national level, in the international level. A lot of times one human being is the symbol of a nation, but at the end of the day, he needs to have his nation behind him to have a major effect. Who is that? How it can work? Without a lot of people following the American Constitution, so the American values would disappear. There is one person, his name was Natan Sharansky. You all heard about him? I'm not talking on his position of life of a Yasir Tzion. I'm talking on what happened afterwards. He wrote a book. What's the name of the book? Yitaron HaDemokratia, it's called in Hebrew. The strength of democracy, or the benefit of democracy, or the something like that. Why is this book? Natan Sharansky, by this book, had an effect on the entire world. Why it had an effect on the entire world? Because this book was the favorite book on George Bush, the President of the United States, the President of the biggest nation, the symbol of the American nation that is committed to the American Constitution. And this symbol, this person symbols a nation that is the nation in some ways. He read the book, and the entire policy of the nation shifted because of the book. But if George Bush would never read the book and would never shift the position of his nation because of this book, the book of Natan Sharansky would be anonymous forever. Would be bought in probably by 5 or 10 people. 500, 5,000, 25,000, but still anonymous. To have an effect, to have a major effect on history, you need to work as a nation. You need to have the power of a nation behind you or together with you.
It's called the case for democracy.
The case for democracy. Wonderful. But and the claim is over here that the only place where Am Yisrael can work as a nation is where? Is inside Eretz Yisrael. Not in any other place. What is the proof for that? Well, it's called mitzvot hatluyot ba'aretz. Mitzvot that are connected to the land. The fact that you have mitzvot that can be done only in Eretz Yisrael shows to you that as a nation, the nation needs to be where? The Jews, not the Jewish private persons. The mitzvot are on all the Jews, on all the nation. The Jews need to be where? In Eretz Yisrael. When Jews are in Eretz Yisrael as a nation, they are a part of the ball game. They are part of the ball game. They play the game of history. They can have a major effect or minor effect on history. They have a potential to fulfill their destiny and making the world a better place for you and for me and for everyone else. How exactly? We'll speak next time.